Hello ladies, I have yet another eye look for you today. Now it's this here, which is an olive green and mint halo eye, and I've done it with this tiny little palette from Nomad Cosmetics. I have one other palette from them which I will show you as well. This packs a punch. It's just so tiny, but the colours in here, I just had to have it. It's called Malibu, so it's got dark khaki, a light khaki, a mint, and then a creamy sort of coloured shimmer on top there. So that's the look I've come up with. Now if you find yourself liking my content along the way, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe, and we'll jump straight into the video. Alright, so I've primed my eyes already just to save a little bit of time in the video with my P. Louise 01, and I'm just topping that off, especially on the outer edges here and the inner corner, just so it blends with your foundation. Going in first up with Shack, which is the darkest colour in the palette, on a Morphe 507. Just picking a little bit of that up. Alright, so I'm just going to pop some shadow shields on. There was a little bit of fallout there with that really dark colour. So I'm just going to pop them up as close as I can to the bottom lash line. That pigmentation is very good. So I'm going to go right down to the inner corner. Just like I normally do lately, I've been putting the crease colour in first up just to get that real good opacity and pigmentation happening first. And then of course my hooded eyes ladies, don't forget to round that off when you relax your eyes down. You can see how that flattens right out. So I'm going to go in and round that off. I want to make sure I've got that colour on the outer and inner corners for my halo today. So just going and pressing that in there on the outer and the inner. Alright, so wiping my brush off and just going right around the edge, very light touch. You will have seen me do this quite a few times on my channel, just to get a nice soft diffused edge. And then we can go back in shortly and actually pop a little bit more of that dark colour back in. As you know, when you blend, you lose intensity. That is blending like a dream. Now I've just changed the angle of my brush to be just a little bit more downwards. Just tilting my head just so I can blend that out just a little bit more. Now I don't want to go too far blending with this. As you can see, I don't have much space there. So I do want to put another colour in the transition area up here. So I don't want it to all be just dark green. Why do these things just never stick on your face? They're just ridiculous. I'm doing my head in. They're coming off. Alright, so I'm going back into Shack. Going back into the outer corner and the socket here and just intensifying that green. So you're not going up as far as the blend. Just back from there and just staying in that same shape though. So going back into the socket. So I need to do it in the socket because I've got such hooded eyes. So I've got to go up so high to be able to see any of this. Alright, so now going in with Hideout, which is a lighter khaki colour, on a Dose of Colours blending brush. I'm just going to pat that in right on top of that blend. And then just wiping off my brush, and I'm going right around the edge of that colour. Just blending it right up to my eyebrow area here. And that colour's blending out really well as well. going back into Shack just once more into that socket area. And just putting a little bit more down. I think that's the key to blending and getting a nice blended look, is just going in and out a couple of times, a few times if you have to, just to get intensity back and just to blend. I'm just grabbing that NARS 42 and I'm just going to pat over first up in between where the dark colour meets the lighter green, and then just do some tiny little pushing motions just to blend backwards and forwards. Alright, now I'm just going in with some micellar water on a pointed cotton bud, so I just want to get rid of a little bit of this colour that's on my lid, because I really want this halo to stand right out. So I'm going in and creating very much the shape that I would when I go in and cut with some P. Louise eye base. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm doing this in kind of a mushroom sort of shape. You can see by here it's a little bit wider at the top and then it comes in. I've done it quite wide because I've got a couple of colours to put in. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to do this. Now I do have coming in the mail one of the P. Louise Paint eye primers. Now they're designed to be able to go on your lid by themselves, so they do come in some colours, but the one I've ordered is blank canvas, which is a very similar colour to the P. Louise 2 base, I'm pretty sure. Now what they're designed to do as well is go straight over that dark colour, so I don't need to go in with this micellar water and actually clean up my lid. So I'll see how well that works when I get it, so I'll be looking forward to that actually working, so you don't have to go in and do this step. Just try and get them even on both sides roughly. And then my hooded eyes, ladies, don't forget to round this off as well, so that doesn't flatten out. So this one's a little bit more flat, so I need to go back in and fix that. And the only way you can see that is by relaxing your eyes right down. Okay, some P. Louise base in 0, which is the white base, on my MAC 242, so just flattening out that brush as much as I can, getting enough product on the tip as well. And then going in and cutting that right up as close as you can to that dark green. And just eyeball it and just make sure it's nice and rounded. And then bring that right down onto the lid as well. We want to stay in that shape, that mushroom shape. When you get over to one side, depending on which eye you're working on, you've got to kind of turn yourself backwards and hope that you can see a straight line. I'm just going to go back in with that NARS 42 and just tap over ever so lightly that primer. Going back in with Shack, so the first dark colour, and I'm just placing a little bit of that just over the edge. Just to blend that in with the next colour. And then same with the inner corner. I'm going to go back in with Hideout. So that was the colour that we used in the transition to blend that crease colour. I'm doing the same with that. You can just use your same brushes, by the way. Just put a towel on your desk and just wipe that colour off. So going in now with Bungalow, which is that beautiful mint colour. I'm going in on a 239 MAC. And I'm going to place that mint colour right down the middle, all over that whole area. I'm loving this palette. Admittedly, you can only get one colour scheme out of it, but it's just beautiful. What I'm going to do is just switch to a Too Faced liner brush, just so I can get right up on top of that cut and just make it a little bit more precise up there and opaque. I'm just going to go back in with that liner brush as well and that light green colour and just blend over the top between that last colour that I put in. Now you can go backwards and forwards. I'm going back into Hideout, so that middle colour. Grabbing some glitter glue, just pop a little bit on my hand, and then I'm going to go back in with that Too Faced liner brush. I love it, it's just so precise, this little thing. Just want to go straight down the middle, kind of a little halo or mushroom shape as well. And right up to that edge. And then going in with that last colour, Cabana. And this is a shimmer. I'm going to use that Too Faced brush. I'm just placing that right over in that same shape that I created with the glitter glue. Okay, so the rest of my makeup is done. I'm going in with Marc Jacobs Blacker as always in the tight line. So I'm going to use a NARS Larger Than Life, it's called. It's a mint green. I'm just going to take that right up here in the inner corner as well. So I'm just setting that with that mint green colour, and this is a Sigma E21 tiny little brush. I'm just going to take that into the inner corner there as well. And then on a Zoeva smudge brush, I'm going into the darkest colour. Just going to pop that on the outer corner, meet up with that darker colour there. And I'm just going about halfway, and then on the 221 I'm just going to blend that out with that lighter green to about there. Matte Giga Black Lash, extended play Giga Black Lash on the bottom lash line. Okay guys, so that's it for today's look. I really hope you like it. I love it. It's just a tiny little palette, but it just packs a punch. Malibu from Nomad Cosmetics. I do have one other palette from them that I'm going to do a look with shortly for you. But on a whole, I really love that. The pigmentation is beautiful. Admittedly, you can only get one colour story with it, but that's okay. It's quite affordable. So if you like my look today, don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up and subscribe. Click on the little subscribe button just below and share with your friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.